How's it going, everyone? I hope you're all doing wonderful. I'm Jacob, and in this video, I'm going to share my portfolio update for the month of May. Going to go into how it performed and share all of the dividends that I received this past month. I like to share updates of my portfolio every single month to give you full transparency into what it's like to have an investment portfolio and just show you the real data so that you can build an investment portfolio yourself and hopefully one day so you can achieve that financial freedom. So looking at the overall portfolio thus far, the total value is right around $35,600. Total dividends earned of about $2,800 and an overall market gain. This includes capital gains and dividends at about $8,300. If we look at the past month alone, not much has changed. The month started off pretty bad. You can see that there was a massive dip in the market about halfway through April, and then magically it just went back up again. And so where we are today is roughly where we were about 1 month ago. So no major change from a price perspective. And with that, we're not going to see too many swings in each of these pies that I have here in my M1 Finance portfolio. Just looking at some of them, you can see that tech, for example, had the biggest gain, about 2.5%. So if we click into there, we can just see what's going on over the past month or so. And here we can see that Apple performed quite nicely, up over 7%. Texas Instruments was another nice one, up over 8%. And surprisingly, Tesla had a pretty nice month as well. And the worst performing pie, so far, it's been finance. We have BlackRock and JP Morgan down almost 3% over the last month, and pretty much everything else was sort of in that down 2% range or up 2% range, which is really good from my perspective. That's why I love investing in a ton of different companies, because when there's some that perform bad, there's others that may perform good. So overall, it can level out the portfolio and over the long term, hopefully move it upwards in the right direction. All right, let's hop into the dividends and let's see what we got going on here. This should be a pretty quick one because in the first month of the quarter, fewer of the companies that I own pay dividends out in the first month. Most of them actually pay out in the last month of the quarter. It's just kind of how it goes. But the first dividend payment we got this month was from Genuine Parts Company. This is an industrial company focused in automotive parts. They paid out $8.05. Next, we move into a company that isn't known for paying a very large dividend. They're more of a growth company, so you can pretty much expect more gains from the price of their stock as opposed to their dividend. But this month, they paid out 96 cents to me. But with that, coming up next is Coca-Cola, and they paid out $3.95. And this is a company that I've held on for pretty much ever since I started this portfolio. For me, it's just a stable company. You're not going to be wowed by the price returns, but they have been able to increase their dividend now for a very long time. And overall, just a company that I personally like having in my portfolio. After that is Broadcom. This is a tech company. They do a lot of chip manufacturing, and this month they paid out $6.82. Following that is a real estate company. This is Vici Properties. They paid $10.11. And what I love about this company, and I've said it before, but they actually own a lot of properties on the Las Vegas Strip. So you can think of those big casinos like Caesar's Palace, MGM, and as you guys all probably know, Las Vegas is a pretty unique area of the world. I mean, anytime you think about gambling, Las Vegas is the first place that will probably come to your mind. I know they have Macau over in Asia, but Las Vegas, it's just absolutely iconic. And I think it's really cool to have a stake in it in the form of Vici Properties. DTE Energy is next. They paid $2.91. And this is an electrical utility company based out of Detroit, Michigan. Another company that is not too interesting. Anytime you're dealing with utility companies, you're pretty much dealing with slow and steady growth, nothing that's going to wow you. The price isn't going to move up or down that much. Actually, utility companies tend to fluctuate even less than the S&P 500. but they're fairly stable, and I think it's always good to have one or two utilities in your portfolio. After that is Realty Income Corp. This is a monthly paying real estate investment trust. They paid out $6.12. Next, we move into a very similar company, but more with an industrial property focus. That is Stag Industrial, and they paid $2.67 this month. Then we move into SPHD. This is another monthly paying company. The difference is that this is an ETF, so it's a basket of a ton of different companies actually. And what this ETF does is they focus on the top couple hundred companies in the S&P 500 that have a higher dividend payment but tend to be a little less volatile. But I'll be honest with you guys, the performance of this ETF hasn't been that great. I've seen much better performance out of an ETF like VTI from Vanguard, but nonetheless, they've been fairly solid. I can't really complain too much. But when it comes to ETF investments, I'll probably stick more into those Vanguard ETFs like VTI or VYM. Next up is $4.31 from Cisco Corp. This is the food distribution company. And then we round everything off with one of the biggest banks in the world, that's JP Morgan Chase. And I received $6.39 from them. And so when we add all those dividends up for the month of April, the total comes to $59.39. So we are in a little better spot compared to where we were last year. Last year at this time, we received $44.50, and this year we're at $59, so roughly a $15 increase there. Nothing too spectacular, but it is great to see. One thing that I do enjoy doing is tracking how much I would make hourly or daily from these dividends. So essentially what I do is I take the 3 most recent months, and then I break it down by yearly wage, monthly wage, weekly, daily, hourly, and hourly if you're just talking about working a 40-hour work week. And so when we break this down hourly, this includes the time that I'm sleeping, traveling, doing whatever in my life. I'm earning 10 cents every single hour. And I know it's nothing crazy, but the principle alone motivates me enough to keep going. And I hope it does for you too. Investing is a really powerful thing, and when you talk about the principle of compound interest, that's when stuff starts to really get crazy. I mean, when you look at a portfolio, just think about how much you can personally invest every single month, and then the dividends that you earn from that, and you reinvest it back into the portfolio and further compound your gains. It is so freaking cool. So that is pretty much going to wrap up the video, and I want to thank you all for taking the time to check out the video. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, and if you want more content from me, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone, take it easy, and I'll catch you in the next one.